10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It is 900 years after the Great Nuke, and the roles of women have changed dramatically, much to the displeasure of men and mutants. For it's a new kind of war being fought, with a certain kick to it. America 3000. Meet Corvus. He's a scholar. He's a spy. He's a man who falls back into the 20th century and lands the most important job in America.
Mr. President. Mr. President?
The President!
Me for president.
Meet Vina, the virginal queen of the Thunder Warriors.
Yeah!
It is up to Corvus and Vina to bring a little civilization back into the world.
What's it, man?
Theo. I'm a man.
Corvus and Vina.
Oh, my.
Two lovebirds out to prove that love is the only thing worth nuking for.
What a day.
America 3000, an outrageous post-nuke adventure.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good golly, Miss Molly. Welcome to the latest edition of the Canon Film Club, where we celebrate all things Canon films. I am your host, Brian, That 70s Rock Fan, and today, whether you're a returning fan of the Canon Film Club or a newcomer, you won't want to miss this show. So stay tuned. Let's get started. Wasteland Wanderers and Movie Maniacs. We're going to go for another dive into a very bizarre world of cinema. We're strapping in for a wild ride through the post-apocalyptic landscape of America 3000, a film so absurd it could only have been made by Canon Films. Imagine a world where the battle of the sexes takes on a whole new meaning 900 years after a nuclear apocalypse, where women rule with an iron fist and men are either slaves or savages. Does it sound like the future? Sounds like now. It sounds like now. Anyway, this gem from 1986 is a kind of a cocktail of, we're going to talk about that. What is it really? Is it sci-fi? Is it comedy? Is it unintendedly funny or intentionally funny? It's got characters with names like Corvus, which I think is Serbian for earring, and Grus, and a language all of its own. So get your laser rifle, get your best post-apocalyptic's gold lammy radiation suit on, and let's explore this nuclear-tinged gender war saga that is as entertaining as it's ridiculous. Yes, welcome everybody. Welcome to my dear friend Imperatus. How are you, sir?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty
Great.
good.
Well, it's good to have you back on a Monday afternoon.
Yeah.
I missed you.
Oh,
Strapping in or
like
strapping
I said
on.
to you earlier, aim better.
Indeed, aim better. That's right. Mummy, why is Daddy running away? Shut up and reload. So the old joke's the best, so they say. D. Bud Martin says, strapping in or strapping on? Well, we will see as the movie
6
goes
of one,
on.
half dozen another.
Hopefully, well, Pope is joining us soon. He's at work. He's finishing up work, so he's going to be here soon. Also, the great Austin Trunick of the Canon Film Guides is going to be dropping by for a little while to say hello. But I thank you all in the chat for being here, everyone that's here so far. Obviously, we have the range of ranges, D. Bud Martin. We got Canadian Spider-Man. We have Low Spec Linux. We got Dave C. And as we say, we have D. Bud Martin. So yes, everyone, share the stream out. Let's get a few people in to watch this fabulous movie. Let's talk about this fabulous movie, which, having watched it 3 times this week, like I normally do when I'm prepping, and I had not seen it since the 1980s on the original VHS. Canon films belong on VHS. That is the original material that they should never have been on any other material, any other format. I was actually pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed it. Thinking it was quite wacky at the time, and like, oh yeah, you know, that was cheap and wacky. It's actually quite enjoyable. It's quite funny in many places, and there's some great action. Welcome to Wicked Fanboy. Yes, Chuck Wagner and Lauren Landon. Lauren or Lauren? I never knew what it was. We're going to be talking about them. As usual, we go through who was in the movie, who made it, show a few clips and some stills from the movie, and just generally chat about anything we want. It is a great flick, D-Bud. So, yeah, well, where can we... And I just wanted to show something off before we started, as the actress said to the bishop. Recommended in the Canon Film Guides by our good friend Austin Trunick was this book, which I just got like an hour before the show. This hardback, beautiful hardback book, World Gone Wild, by David J. Moore. This is the restocked and reloaded second edition. It's a Bible of post-apocalyptic movies. And I'm so looking forward to reading this and picking out some old movies that I'd forgotten about so we can do shows on them. So that is awesome. That is an awesome book. There's nothing like having something as large and hard as that in your hands to read. It's full of reviews, interviews. You can open any page. I just opened the page at Mad Max. Now, America 3000's in here. I've been calling America 3000 Mad Maxipad all week.
Fitting.
Very fitting because of the content. When you first see, this is this shot was actually taken from a Glaswegian dance hall back in the 80s. The Glaswegian disco. When you look at this movie and you look at the posters for the movie, it's kind of I mean, you look at that poster, what does that bring to mind? I mean, when I first saw this, I thought, what is this movie? I mean, what are some of the things that bring to mind for you when you look at that? What would you think was the subject matter of this movie?
Yeah, it'd be kind of hard to tell.
Well, first of all, well,
plus it's canon, so you never know what you're going to
get. You're going to get an entirely different movie from what you think. Mm-hmm. At first, you look at it, you go, well, is this some kind of Planet of the Apes spin-off?
Yeah, it does kind of give that vibe a little bit.
It gives that vibes. Is it an action movie? Is it set in Neolithic times? But then you see the Baguette Blaster, you think, well, that wouldn't work. Well, there could be time travel involved. Is it a post-apocalypse dystopia? Is it Mad Max? Could be a car race movie. The title, America 3000, sounds like it's a car movie.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Death Race 2000, America 3000. Is it a comedic parody of a post-apocalyptic movie? It certainly has a lot of comedy in it, intentionally, I believe. Is it an 80s hair metal music video?
It's got vibes of that. Too.
It's got vibes of that. And as I say, Mad Maxi Pad is the title I give it. But so you don't really necessarily get the full vibe from it until you watch it. And as usual, we're checking out a bit of that artwork. This is the VHS, which I'm still trying to track down a copy of. Every thrift store I go to, I'm looking for a copy of this. And I do have quite a few Canon VHSs now, which there's always one or two every time I go. So looking for this one. Released April 1986 theatrically. I don't recall it being released in the UK where I lived.
I don't remember it being released, period.
Period. I mean,
but then again, I was in 86, I was 10.
Yeah. I mean, it had a theatrical release. I've been unable to find out any box office information on this.
Low.
Yes, low to medium low. It must have shown at a few drive-ins somewhere, I would imagine.
Oh, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and maybe it was a drive out. I don't know. Set in post-apocalyptic Colorado, 900 years after a nuclear war, which of course then must have occurred in the year 2100, because it's America 3000. Although some reviews suggested it was set in the 80s when it was filmed. It wouldn't be called America 3000 then if it was exactly 900 years after. Although certainly there's a lot of 20th century references in it, like Camp Reagan and so on. After a nuclear war between the US and the Soviets, which we find out a little bit about in the movie, supposedly a $2 million budget, but to quote director David Engelbach, he never saw a budget for the movie. So, he was kind of picking money from other things to try and keep it getting made.
In true canon fashion.
And he said, when somebody asked him, was there a promotional budget for the movie? He said, not really, because Canon had pre-sold the movie like they always do, taken that money and immediately thrown into another 30 films they were making. So they didn't have to put any effort in. It was pre-sold. So they didn't care. Shot in Israel near the Dead Sea, which is an interesting choice because it was shot in like April, May, June of 85, just as he was getting into summer. So yes, nice and hot there. Ideal conditions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I do love this. These images are great. But the hair. Now, I think apparently the hair and wig budget took up most of the movie budget in this one.
Likely.
The French poster, Le jour d'après l'aventure recommence. Whatever that means. The day has come where the adventure starts again or something. Or I prefer the Spanish version, Regreso al Principio. I can't pronounce that. And our great friend Pope is joining us. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's great to see you back, mate. I got my boys, Imp and Pope, are back. So all is well in the world. And how is your work?
Though?
Is it though? Is it really? How was your day at work, Pope?
Well, cold, but pretty good.
Cold. Well, that's a term they use in this movie, meaning either dead or almost. So, so what's your experience with this movie?
I've only seen this one, I think, once before, but I remember enjoying it quite a bit. It was a while ago.
It's more enjoyable than people think. I had this I had this remembrance of it as being like, what the hell was that? I'm never watching that again. But having watched it a few times again recently, I was pleasantly surprised by how much fun it was.
Yeah.
They gave it their best shot. Let's put it that way. So this, to go over the story, we love to talk about how these movies come about, and a great deal of the information is in Austin Trunick's Canon Film Guides, Volume 2 specifically for this movie. He lays it all out, and he has interviews with the stars, with the director, David Engelbach, who we can see on screen, giving his best Eric Idle impression. And
He does look a lot like him, I'm not going to lie.
It does. And then Chuck Wagner and Lauren Landon are also interviewed. So, as we said, set in post-apocalyptic Colorado, Cheyenne Mountain, I'm assuming, is where he falls into to find the bunker.
Yeah.
And in this movie, women rule in a matriarchal society, with men being either slaves or living as wild animals. I keep saying, is that any different from today?
Not really. I mean,
the story follows Corvus, who leads a rebellion against the female rulers. Now, David Engelbach is the director and writer, and the reason he got involved with Canon, and he used to work, he did some work with Steven Spielberg on Jaws as an assistant. He wrote a screenplay for this property. Jerry Conway had run the original story called Over the Top. And so Menachem Golan loved this, wanted Over the Top. And he also wanted Engelbach to write a script for Death Wish 2. He said, we're remaking a classic 80s, we're making a sequel to a classic 80s movie or 70s movie. I want you to be involved. And he was thinking it might be The Godfather or something, and it was Death Wish. Death Wish 2. So wanted Engelbach on board. And one of the things that got him into the deal to do these screenplays was he wanted to write and direct his own movie. And they said, okay, go for it. And he had this old script lying around for something which at the time wasn't called America 3000. It was actually called a combination of things at first. First, it was Thunder Warriors. It doesn't quite, like all Canon movies, they never quite end up looking like the original let's sell you this movie poster. Even in some different cast members in it. But yeah, Thunder Warriors, and then was also called Thunder Women for a while. I mean, that doesn't look anything like we got in the end. Thunder Women. Now, Golan said, I don't want a title with women in it, because movies with the title women in them don't sell. Now, he might have a point. I'm trying to think of some that...
I mean, modern Hollywood's kind of run ass backwards into that one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some examples up to 1986 where this movie was released, where that may have been true. Were there any... What titles, including the word woman, sold big in Hollywood? I don't know. There must be a dozen. I can't think of any. I know that obviously Pretty Woman sold years later, sold bigly. So, but anyway, he changed. He said, no, we're changing it to America 3000, which David Engelbach hated. However, he was going to go ahead and make the movie one way or another. And it became America 3000. He was given a budget for $2 million, supposedly. But told that you have to film it in either Israel or South Africa. And given that South Africa was on the shit list, although it would have suited his vision for the movie better, because it wouldn't have been desert set then, it would have had a variety of landscapes. Because of apartheid, didn't want to go there, so they went to Israel, which brought its own problems in later on, which we'll cover. But anyway, I prefer Thunder Women. I think that would have been a great title. This is the movie we should have got. Anyway, hail to Maddie's daddy. Good to see you. So who did this movie star? Who did he get to star? The American side of things, anyway. Chuck Wagner. Actually, Wagner's what you would say if you were German. I guess Chuck Wagner. Wagner played Corvus, who's a young Plugot. We can talk about the lingo. This movie had its own lingo, which caused a lot of confusion for moviegoers at first. Chuck was a big Broadway star and has continued to be a Broadway guy. Major credits: Beauty and the Beast, Into the Woods, bunch of stuff. Also a bunch of albums singing show tunes, Broadway stuff. So he's had a pretty damn good career, most of it outside of the movies eventually on Broadway. However, he did, as well as playing Corvus in this movie. There he is with these Broadway credits. He did this show. Now, I've never seen this show, Automan. Have either of you guys seen it?
I've heard of it. I've never seen it, but I've heard of it.
I don't think I've seen it, no, but I have heard of it.
Yeah, I'd heard of it, and I don't think they ever showed it back in the day in the UK. Maybe someone in the chat may have seen it. So let us know if you've ever seen Automan. They made one season of 13 episodes. Desi Arnaz Jr. was also in it. And it was as it says, from the producers of Tron. Tron had been out, and they were using that style to make this show called Automan. It cost a lot of money, and it didn't turn out to be a huge hit, so it got canned, which I think is an awful shame because it looked really good. The clips I've seen, it was ambitious, looked good. This is about 83, 84. So I'm going to catch up on a couple of episodes at some point, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I love Tron, so I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, and it's kind of a little place in movie history as a result, TV history as being one of these like Firefly, ambitious, good show, but either too expensive or not successful enough, whatever. So he also apparently appeared as the male lead of another movie, which is bizarrely related to America 3000, called The Sisterhood, which I must admit I have not seen either. But it does look good. The cover art looks good. I'll give it that. It looks like fun. And he's a little bit beefier in this. You can see him on the right. He's kind of looking at his most macho there, I guess. So if anyone's ever seen The Sisterhood, let me know, because I'll figure out. Let's see if I can figure out how to get a copy of that. It's probably in this World Gone Wide post-apocalyptic movie. In fact, I'm going to look that up live. This is what we do in this show. Is the Sisterhood in this book? Okay, we're getting closer. We're in the S's. I'm assuming it's not going to be. I don't know. There we go. And the Silence, Silent Night, Zombie Night, Silent Running. The Sisterhood is indeed in this book. 1985. Okay, so that was actually before, calling that before America 3000, but it looks like almost the same movie. Anyway, that's Chuck Wagner, who got the gig as Corvus. His female lead opposite him, playing the warrior queen Vina, the Tiara of Frisco, or eventually she becomes the Tiara of Frisco. Lauren Landon. I'm going to say Lauren, Laurene. I think that will be pronounced Lauren. That's Book. I did say Book. That's true.
Post-apocalypse. I mean, there's only one queen in Frisco.
That's right. Yeah, it's a bit weird because the other tribe are the Kansas or Kansas. It's supposed to be coming from Kansas, so they call themselves the Kansas or something. Frisco, they're in the Colorado part of the country. is there a Frisco in Colorado? I don't know why
Yeah, I
they.
don't think so.
I don't know why they became Frisco, because the other lot were related to Kansas. It's obviously a derivation of Kansas, but regardless. So she has some impressive 80s hair metal hair going on here.
Yeah.
Like, how many Motley Crue videos would benefit from that hair?
Maybe this is the inspiration behind Bret Michaels. Who knows?
I think so. And as you can see, there's a lot of cleavage in this movie too. So what a shame. And she's a fairly attractive lady, I'd have to say. Fairly attractive lady. Before America 3000, she was in a movie that I actually really, really enjoyed at the time. I don't think it got particularly well received. Armando Santi's I, the Jury, which I thought was a neat movie. I've always enjoyed this. I think this was his, they were trying to push him a bit as a solo star, to be a star. Maybe never quite took off, but I had a nice chat with him about this movie once. I met him in a bar in Liverpool in England once. So he was a nice chap. So he was impressed that I'd seen it. She was in that, but she was also in the ill-judged sequel that was Airplane 2. But more importantly, I think, or better than that, she was in Maniac Cop with Bruce Campbell, which is a genuinely fun movie. We should do Cherry 2000. Sorry, I'm going to write that down. She has a nice rack. I was trying to be Tim's. He has a nice rack. I was trying to be classy. Cherry 2000. But anyway, yes, Maniac Cop, which if you've never seen it, is a lot of fun. Probably the kind of movie that gets a 3.8 out of 10 on IMDb, so it's got to be good. Hail Davina, good to see you. So that Lauren had a bit of a track record in some B movies. She still does a lot of B movies. She threatened to quit America 3000 during the filming because she hadn't been paid for several weeks. Well, get in line. It's a canon film.
I was going to say, that's a running theme throughout the whole discography here.
Nobody mentioned pay.
So you get paid when the movie comes out,
Exactly. You'll get it. You'll get a cut of the profits. Anyway, Gruss, Corvus's sidekick Gruss with the top hat, and the narrator. Well, he narrates the first half of the movie, then kind of disappears later. The director kind of took a lot of the narration out, which is fine. He is played by William A. Wallace, not the Scottish freedom fighter, obviously. William Wallace is the actor. He plays his sidekick there. He's found the most important 20th century object he can, which is a copy of Playboy. Star of quite a few, or appeared in a few canon movies, like here he is in the Delta Force. He's the one in the front seat, not the one in the back seat. And he also was in Avenging Force, which is a movie we're definitely going to do on this Canon Film Club. Michael Dudikoff. So he had a little bit of a Canon track record, but his crowning achievement in cinema and TV was playing Wesley Crusher in one episode of Star Trek Next Generation. Wesley Crusher at age 25 in the episode Hide and Q.
Wesley Crusher we don't hate.
That's the only Wesley Crusher that doesn't deserve to be crushed. Doesn't deserve to be put in the airlock. So, well, William Wallace there. Looking at the other ladies, and there were a lot of fine ladies in this movie. It is a matriarchy after all. Victoria Barrett, who's on the right-hand side of the screen, looking at it. All three of her. She played Lakela Vina's ruthless sister, who, when Vina is made tiara, she's plotting against her eventually for power. She happened to be Menachem Golan's girlfriend. I have no idea why. I don't know what he saw in her. So she appeared in a bunch of canon movies, like Over the Brooklyn Bridge, which was a more serious, arty one, but also in Hot Chili, which is not a serious arty movie. Hot Resort was another one she was in, and with Robert Ginty and Shakti in Three Kinds of Heat, which is actually a pretty damn good movie. Not a bad heat. I also thought Robert Ginty looked like a kind of a Russell Crowe's less good-looking cousin. But this is not a bad movie if you ever see it. It's quite good fun. We'll definitely be talking about that one day. So also in the movie, playing this is where the movie really went wacky. Arg. Playing Arg the Awful, which sounds very Monty Python.
That does sound like something that should have been in Holy Grail.
Very Holy Grail. Arg the Awful. A 7-foot-tall ape man. He happens to be the only one we see in the movie, so he is an evolutionary sidetrack due to the radiation. Quite how that happened, I don't know.
Well, at least we now have evidence that Culture Casino survives the apocalypse.
Culture Casino did survive the apocalypse, and here he is getting his ass kicked by a woman. Played by Israeli basketball player Steve Milovich, who did play one season in the NBA and then went back to played in Europe and then Israel. So that's not him. He, unfortunately, it's his one and only credited film, and I can understand why. He had to wear that suit in temperatures that varied between 100 and 130 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, Jesus.
Holy shit.
And the guy in the alien suit from Alien thought it was bad.
Yeah, low spec, you got to clip that. We have to clip that. The Culture Casino bit has to be clipped. Definitely. So the poor bugger was probably close to death. And unfortunately, he did sadly die in 2007. So R.I.P. Steve. You may only have made one movie, but by God, it was your appearance was memorable in it. In fact, it's so memorable, we're going to show a little clip of him now. Here we go. Let's just check out the glory that it was Steve Malkovich.
Brawl was taking her final Warriors test. Trying to survive a meeting with Arg the Awful. Fallout from the Great Nuke forced Arg to take a detour from the human race. The fun was canon.
Yeah, Culture Casino, absolutely. There's a meme going to be coming tonight on Comics' show for that. It's hilarious. I love the way he throws her right out of and then he does some basketball moves with the skull, which is just absolute. So there's no way they didn't mean that to be funny. That is meant to be funny. So that's Steve. Some of the other cast members were Victoria Barrett, who played not Victoria Barrett, sorry, Sue Giosa, who played Mora, the rival tribal leader of the Konzos tribe. I think they called themselves the Konzos, who's shit disturbing because she wants to be the real power in the women. She had been, she's still working as an actress and acting coach. Hasn't been anything particularly notable that we could see. There was also Sheikh Ophir, who plays Lels, the eunuch who looks after the boy toys. So it just how unlike women to cut men's balls off.
Right? I mean, that just you don't never do that nowadays.
In the lockbox. Canon veteran, here you can see him with a bit more of a beard in next to William Wallace in Delta Force, playing Father Nicholas. He also played Kassam in King Solomon's Mines. Passed away in 1987, sadly. A very grainy picture here of, I think, because it was hard to find stills of these, Galen Gorg, who plays Vena's bestie, Linka, busy wielding the whip. Again, Glasgow dance hall in the 1980s. That's how the women dressed like that, and they were equally as violent. You can see her here in RoboCop 2. She had a big part. She had a big part in RoboCop 2, looking quite splendid, I have to say, in RoboCop 2. She was also in another Cannon film, Down Twisted, which was one of their more kind of critically celebrated movies. Kerry Lowell, Courtney Cox, and a few other well-known people were in that. So she had a role in that one. She also sadly passed away in 2020. So R.I.P. Gillen. And then there was Karen Shepherd, who plays Kiva, champion martial artist. Her and Cynthia Rothrock, two of the earliest, most celebrated female martial artists in the Western world. Here she is doing her thing. Gillian Gorg, because I forgot to mention, was in Point Break as well, if you watch that movie closely. But she played a number of roles. She was the enforcer on Hercules.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there's something about that costume. I can't quite figure out what it is.
It's right in front of me.
It's right in front of me. It's staring me in the face. We also had a movie which I've never seen and I now intend to go and find, called Shinobi Ninja, way back in like 1980. So she got early, again, like Cynthia Rothrock, got invited to do Hong Kong martial arts movies and Japanese movies way back in the day. So striking a true blow for the matriarchy, I would say. And she was in Cyborg too, although I don't think I've got a clip of that.
So that movie's called The Ninja.
It's called The Ninja, yes.
Fuck, I hate people sometimes.
Well, that's the English title. That wouldn't be the Hong Kong title.
It could very well be the Hong Kong title, 70s.
It was
I've
a
seen
British
enough Hong Kong movies to remove you of that thought process.
Well, that's true. It was let's face it, it was still a British colony then, so who knows? So also, I mean, there's a lot of cast members we're not going to cover in detail, but Ezra Dagan played Amy, or Ami, who was also a eunuch and also had his tongue cut out by the girls because they had a whole bunch of guys they called toys, where they castrated them, cut their tongues out, and basically kept them as toys. So he was one of them. So he didn't have any speaking lines, which he was probably grateful for. And not long after this, he made Schindler's List. So slight change in tone.
Yeah, imagine going from a movie like America 3000 to Schindler's List in one go.
Yeah, it's right. I bet he doesn't have the balls to do that again. Yeah. It sounds like someone's ex-wife. Yeah, Tim's killing it today. Sorry, I got a private. Imps on a BRB. I would just wish a good afternoon to anybody that happens to be watching over in Rumble. There's no Rumble chatting going on, but if you're watching there, welcome to you. Cyborg 2 Electric Boogaloo. Cyborg 2 Electric Boogaloo. That clip, although it wasn't super chatted or member chatted, deserves to have something played to commemorate. Always good to see Jean-Claude Van Damme letting loose there. Yeah, so hope you're all enjoying the show so far. Do that old liking, thumbs up liking, sharing out of the stream thing. We get a few people in, hopefully a few more to watch the Canon Film Club. And don't forget, if you fancy it, if you're not already a member, just get a wee membership there. Reduced rates, 99 cents, $2.99, $4.99. All helps. Hail 70s, says Zax. So hail Zax, the great Zax. Our good buddy Zach. Good to see you, mate. Nice to see you here. So yes, that was the main cast. There's lots of other, particularly amongst the female cast, quite a lot of athletic women, I'd have to say. Also, contributing to the movie heavily was a guy called David Gerfinkel, canon regular on dozens of canon movies as director of photography. Big help to Engelbach, who was a first-time director. Helped him to get a lot of stuff done because shooting this movie in Israel wasn't easy. There was the heat. There was all sorts of other issues. The people building the sets didn't want to listen to the art director and just did their own thing and all sorts of stuff. So he helped sort a lot of that stuff out too. He did the Delta Force, Over the Top, many other DPs and many other canon stuff. The music is a bit of a weird one on this movie, and I'm not even sure the copy I've got which soundtrack there is, because the original soundtrack was done by a guy called Tony Berg, who's a major producer and session guitarist. Did stuff like Rocky Horror Picture Show, all the Muppets albums, top A&R producer at Geffen Records, works with Peter Gabriel, Taylor Swift, people like that, recording on their albums. And he did a soundtrack for the movie, which was the theatrical soundtrack. That's not the one you get on the VHS copy, apparently. It's apparently a completely different set of music. So, but even there, Engelbach didn't like Tony Berg's soundtrack, so he got his own stuff out of the canon library of licensed music and kind of changed the Tony Berg stuff and put some of other things in. But even that didn't end up on the VHS. It was just, he said somebody just basically went through it and added stuff, and he doesn't know who did it. And I don't know if the version I've got, which version it is, other than the fact it sounds like classic 80s power hair metal.
Nice.
Yeah, some pretty rocking stuff on there. There's particularly a track on it, and I'm pretty sure, so there's a song on the version I have, which is called If This Is Paradise. And it does sound like 80s power metal, hair metal. And it's, from everything I can find online, it was done by this guy, D.L. Byron. You can't buy it anywhere, this song. And it's not credited on the movie or the VHS credits. But I'm pretty sure it's him, according to the internet. And I'd never heard of this guy, but I actually went down the rabbit hole and listened to some of his stuff. And it's actually pretty good 80s. Started out as an 80s new wave guy. This album, This Day and Age, 1980, very new wave, very power pop. Really nice album. So I was really pleasantly surprised when I listened to this. So I'd recommend everyone give it a listen. You can hear it on YouTube. D.L. Byron. I'm pretty sure he does the main theme that you can get on it's the one on the version I've got anyway. So there you go. I just discovered a guy I'd never heard of. He did write, apparently, there was a song, I don't particularly record it, Shadows of the Night, that was a hit for Pat Benatar.
Yeah.
He wrote that. This guy wrote that. Yeah. So he's got an indie record label and stuff. So he's done all right. But so Los Pigs already clipped that Culture Casino comment.
Outstanding.
Well played. That'll be fun. We'll make sure that on Comics' show tonight we talk about that. So that's really the movie force behind the movie, as it were. Let's just start running through the slides like we normally do. So, and see just what we're dealing with. And I got some clips as well. I think they're all pretty copyright free because I tested a few. And this movie's free on YouTube, albeit a low-res copy. You can also watch it on Tubi. And I think there is a Shout Factory DVD of it. I don't think there's any kind of Blu-ray or... So at this point in the movie, I was expecting coconuts. You know, they're riding over the hill. It looks very Holy Grail. And I was thinking, you know, you're going to hear the coconuts. Well, not quite. It didn't. It looked, at this point, it looks like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So, but here's the ladies heading back to their camp, and it's called Frisco for some reason. And this is when you start to get all the language. It's narrated by Gruss, the character Gruss. And the ladies have captured a bunch of the wild men, and they're bringing them in to decide which category they fall into. And I think at this point, then, it's probably a good idea to look at some of that. What is the language? What does it mean? Some of the lingo that they made up. So woggos means crazy. Negi used to signify no or not or something negative. So obviously,
Gee, what does that sound like, Pope?
Yeah, right. Any other BattleTech fans in the audience?
Yeah, well, there you go. So maybe it was adopted after that. Or
Well, there's a whole faction in BattleTech called the clans, and instead of saying like affirmative or negative or yes or no, it's af and neg.
F and neg, okay. So hot plastic refers to something good or positive. If it's cold, it's dead, or it's pretty shitty, horrible, bad situation. But cold is definitely referred to dead people are referred to. It's cold. Thrall refers to a woman, just in general, because you're in thrall to them, I guess. Frows refers to the dominant women, the Amazon-like female warriors. Plugot denotes a man. Plugarts are the male slaves who are in opposition to the frollos, or the women. The cedar is a man whose primary role is to mate with women for procreation.
It's a rough gig, but somebody's got to do it.
It's a dirty job, but somebody had to do it. And the funny thing about this movie is everyone seems to regard that as a horrible thing until the end of the movie. Machos are men used for labor who typically get their tongues cut out. I'm not sure they get deboned, but and Pugats is a derogatory term possibly used to insult or demean. So there's a quick primer to some of the language used in the movie. So let's go. Let's take a little look at some of this. I've got quite a few video clips. So this is when she's going through the tiara of Frisco. The men have dragged in to decide what they're going to do with each one, which category of men they fall into.
Their ruler, the tiara. She was giving us hot scan, deciding what she was going to do with us.
Again.
I didn't need heavy smarts to figure things were going cold naked.
He also has great hair product.
That means very bad.
Cedar. Macho. Macho.
The Frowns called their slaves machos. They did all the hard work.
Macho.
Sure wasn't something I wanted to be.
So this is Gus, the sidekick to the main guy, and the narrator.
Cedar.
That's a vote of approval, don't you think?
Well, yeah.
But yeah, apparently nobody wants to be a cedar, though. So Corvus, the main guy, escaped from being a cedar, and this guy wants to escape from it. And I'm thinking to myself, wouldn't most teenage boys just say, you know what, I get to lie around all day and sleep with the women. What's the problem here?
Yeah, right. Just like, this is living the dream.
It's living the dream. Yeah, they're like, come on. But no, this is not something to be desired. Apparently, I mean, it's better than being a macho or a toy boy. You get things cut off then. But you know, making baby frills. So this was filmed, as we said, in Israel, which was meant to stand in for Colorado. And it gave it that desert look, which the director didn't really like because that was such a cliche with Mad Max and other post-apocalyptic stuff. He'd envisioned something a bit more urban, with lots of American-style buildings and cars lying around trashed, and American trash, because it's meant to be America post-apocalypse. And as it turns out, they filmed in Israel to make it cheap, but they had to import stuff that looked like American trash, so it cost them money. Like it was, and it didn't. It looked sparse and desert-like instead of what he envisaged was like some of the early concept art was basically fighting in cityscapes, ruined cities. So,
yeah, like almost like the future war in Terminator, where you see them fighting in the ruins of Los Angeles.
Yeah. So
which could be next week for all we know.
Yeah. So he ended up, unfortunately for him, having a very different look to the movie than he wanted. But yeah, I can't believe that these guys would reject being a cedar. Like, what's the big deal? But hey, I guess they're being forced against their will, and that's a bad thing.
It's just a shame. You hate to see it.
Yeah, it's real Colorado. No one will tell the difference. That's right. So yeah, it was kind of a weird. I'm going to escape from this hellish being a gigolo. Hey, I guess boys just want to be free, Girls just want to have fun, and the boys just want to be free. He wants to hang out with other men. Clearly.
So it's a distant ancestor of Mad?
Exactly. This was Mad's distant descendant, although so the boys, there are guys out there though, like Corvus, the main guy, who are looking to get back at the women. So they and they're also these slave guys, the wild men out there, these Plugots, who attack the women. Have got a convoy coming with food and stuff, and they attack them. This is where the movie does quite well. There's a lot of good action scenes. Well staged, choreographed. Lots of women jumping on top of guys. I thought the movie did a good job of this kind of stuff. Oh, there you go. That was pretty brutal. Stuff like this. The backwards kick there from. So that's an example of what the movie does pretty well, I think. But some of that kind of stuff. I need to reshare my. Sorry, I just unshared the slides. See, what I need is a producer.
Yeah, only we knew where to get one.
Only I knew where to get one. Yeah. I'll have to find where I was in this. Oh, there we go. Right, so back to here. So the result of this fight with the so Corvus and his crew raid the camp to save some of these guys that have been captured. Then this battle's happening outside with these kind of slave-like Neolithic men fighting the girls. And the result of that fight is the Tiara, the head of the Frescoes, the head woman, gets injured. She gets badly injured, and so she gets taken back to the village where she hands over power because she's dying. But we'll come to that in a minute. But this is the guys, younger, Corvo and Gus, trying to survive with the guys. And Corvo finds a book. He finds a book and learns to read from one ABC book, which is pretty clever if you think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She knows how to say words like bus and whatever. But they've built this camp based around the ruins of an old military camp. Not that they know what that is, called Camp Reagan. How on the nose is that?
Apparently a pretty popular guy, but nobody really knows who he was.
That's right. Well, and that's part of it in the movie. He says, "I don't know who this what a Reagan is," but that Camp Reagan must have survived to the year 2100. So yeah, so that was being Gus was rescued. Then now we get to the fight of the.
One thing I'm surprised at is that there isn't actually a Camp Reagan yet.
There's not. Okay, well, there you go. Well, they must found it in the future, you see. Because I'm pretty sure that if it's America 3000 and you take 900 years away, because it's supposed to be 900 years post-nuke, it's 2100. So it was in our future. And that would make sense given one or two of the things that he finds in the bunker, like the laser pistols, laser rifles, which we don't have. Right.
Yet.
By 2100, that could be a thing. We're already playing with it.
Yep. Oh, it will be a thing by then. So this fight scene was pretty good. This is the, but it shows there's different groups of guys out there. There's the wild ones. There's the ones that are enslaved. There's the cedars, but basically the women are in charge, and apparently the best fighters.
Modern Hollywood would love these guys.
Oh, this is the thing is, if this was made in modern Hollywood, the ending would be very different from the ending you get.
And they wouldn't look like that. It would be some, 47-year-old lesbian.
That's right. Well, there is some clips or suggestions in this that the girls are pretty keen on each other most of the time.
Yeah.
One or two scenes. They don't quite go all the way there because they don't like the seeding process. It's like, oh God, it's my time of the month. I have to do this. It's so horrible. Oh, I can't. Oh, this is going to be horrible. Everyone hates it. The men seem to hate it. The women seem to hate it, which is kind of weird. But yeah. So this is back at the camp when they're all sharpening their skills. Especially, and you introduced to Arg, who we saw earlier. Who's pretty good comic relief in the movie. I love the way that there's like one gap in this ceiling in his cage, and he finds it to throw it out. And the guy is been a good basketball player. So anyway, here's the current boss bleeding out. And they give her some weird liquid that they get out of a red cliff. It doesn't make it any better. This is the thing you always get in these movies. What the hell is she mixing that thing that not good is it possible to do? Oh, I think we just hastened her death. She hands over power to our girl Vina. Even though her sister has got the better boobs, I think. But that's, obviously boobs were not the deciding factor. She's got the better cleavage there, absolutely.
Clearly a vile and savage people if that's not how they determine who's in charge.
That's right. Talk about uncivilized. Lakela, that's her sister. So there is a difference between the two. Vina's the more thoughtful of the two, the less driven, and Lakela is the one that really would like to be the boss and is a lot more cunning, but she goes along with her sister being made the boss for now. Actually, she might have been right, because Vina being the boss ultimately leads to the downfall of the matriarchy. So draw from that.
That's what happens when you put a blonde in charge.
That's right. Yeah, she does screw up every major decision. Kind of, but that's because she's trying to do something new. But I noticed that the tiara, of course, on her deathbed says to her, oh, by the way, I've got this secret map in my room that I want you to use. Like, first time it's ever been mentioned, I guess, to anybody ever. And I didn't do anything with it, but I'm going to give it to you so you can do something with it. So bit of a MacGuffin, as they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you never mentioned this before. What's it about? You know.
You mean a woman being the key to everything? Oh my
That's
god.
right. It's the map is the woman in the map are the key to everything. Only the woman with the map is the key. But Lakella was pretty hot stuff.
Mhm.
Here's the other gang from Kansas or whatever they call themselves, and they're really shit disturbing. They're going with Lakella like, you could overthrow your sister, you know, because she's too nice, and she's got the better hairstylist.
True.
Because the Tiara gets access to the best hairdressers and the best products in the camp. The Mexican Adam. Sorry, I gotta highlight D-Bud's chat there. To the lovely Sherry. Nice to see you, Sherry. If Mexican Iron Man contacts you claiming to be a cedar, run. Soul Assassin, good to see you. Modern Day America 3000 sounds like hell. I'd rather take my chances as a cedar in the canon version. Me too. Like it seems like a good life to me. I mean, they're fed. They don't have to do anything. They get to do the seeding thing.
Yeah.
And this is like the high priestess woman. So they're going to crown Vina the Tiara, make her the boss, and then they're going to have an enormous party. But there's a little bit of a prophecy revealed that there's this thing called the President who's going to come back and lead them all to a new tomorrow. And stuff like that is revealed. And the regs, they've got the regs, which is obviously about not going into radiation areas and stuff, which has just become the regs. And she's supposed to enforce those. But with this map, you see, she's going to break the rules. You know she's going to break the rules. And they're having the party, and this is good for the boys, because the boys are like, okay, when they get hammered, shit-faced, and are all hungover, we're going to get into their camp and steal shit and whatever. So, I mean, it's just like a bunch of women to just be partying it up when they should be, you know, guarding the camp. Where's the sentries?
Right.
Where's the firefighters?
No,
Anyway.
this is a fantasy world, not California.
Yeah. No, but I mean, they decided, obviously they're so confident in their camp with its walls and whatever, their fence, well, they can all party and get hammered and not worry too much about being attacked. But again, maybe they weren't really ever attacked.
A city with really nice walls that, you know, they're really confident in and all get hammered and go to bed. I wonder where this came from.
Yeah. Thanks for being over in the Rumble chat, FKHC 2005. Tim, good to see you there, buddy. We do go out and Rumble and supposedly on Twitter, although I can never seem to make it work. So maybe I don't pay. Maybe I have to pay the money to do that. I don't know. Yeah. So this map she finds, and it's a map of, this is her buddy. This girl's her buddy. She's on her side. This is Linka, her best buddy. So she's a good girl. Whereas her sister and the other Mora are shit disturbers. I mean, is it not really like women to be bitching and trying to destroy each other when they should be working together? They're like sophomores in high school here. Yeah, we got a good thing going. Let's shit disturb and bring down the boss. So anyway, party's over. Hangovers. The women are hammered. Tons of hangovers. And the boys sneak in broad daylight to free some prisoners and steal some food and weapons. Great plan. They actually waited till daylight. They didn't even sneak in while it was still dark.
The only unrealistic part is that they went for the weapons and food rather than the booze and women.
That's right. Only Gus decides to drink some of the booze. But yeah, they didn't want to join the party. Now look at these damn women hammered out of their minds and hungover. Shocking behavior. Wouldn't catch a bunch of guys doing that. So they get in there, they find there's toy boys in there with no tongues. There's machos, there's weapons, there's food, whatever. But Corvus decides to go in and have a wee look at the boss, and he's immediately smitten. Like he goes, I like that look of that girl's haircut. I think I've seen that in a Motley Crue video. So here's Chris getting stuck into the booze. He's the only one.
Good lad.
Good lad. That's right. He's got his priorities right. Yeah, the whole high priest thing earlier, high priestess, she was a combined history lesson, propaganda for the women, and prophecy. She does all of them in what her spiel. But the president is important. The coming of the president. They'll have an inauguration for him. Or her. See, they never said it was a him or a her. They just said president. So this is when he makes the mistake of releasing Arg, who doesn't seem particularly hostile. In fact, Arg, I'm not sure, really contributes in too much in a military sense for either side, even though he's a big guy. His first concern is he wants to go over there and get the air raid siren and grab it, and because he likes the sound of it. It's his new toy. It's quite funny. So I may have some more video clips to play, because we all like a video clip, don't we? So this is the guys raiding Frisco. Still don't know why it's called Frisco. Kansas, I get Kansas, or Kansas, I get. It should have been called the Denvers or something. I don't know.
I won't leave any man behind. Effing woggos!
It was downhill from there.
Hello to Nick the Greek. As Soul Assassin says, even in a female-ruled apocalyptic world, the men do all the work. Shocking. He also realizes that booze is flammable. Yes, we've already had the culture, because it is Culture Casino, and indeed, that tweet has already been posted. Yeah. There's a nice stunt for you. Look at all that hay was there. No, he loves this siren.
Brawls were Naggy loose from Wago now. They were cold pissed.
It's pretty brutal. There's some nice thigh action here, obviously. But yeah, what actually interested me was the fact that they had an awful lot of food in there and weapons. They had lots of weapons, mainly crossbows and spears and stuff.
I love how they have the dinky little hand crossbows too.
Tiny little things. That's right.
Like that thing fire all of 10 foot-pounds of pressure.
A pencil, They had a lot of food. It's never made quite clear where all that food's coming from, because you clearly couldn't grow shit in this place.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Yeah, and they had hay, tons of hay. The horses are in good shape. The horses obviously didn't suffer from any radiation mutations.
I guess not.
The horse action in this is one of the best parts of the movie. Apparently, they hired a team of Spanish stunt riders and brought in a lot of horses. So there's a lot of really good horse action, including a cavalry charge at the end, which the director said it was the first all-female cavalry charge in any movie ever, where they're charging the Camp Reagan. But Engelbach did say to Menachem Golan, he says, "You know what? I'm going to need more horses, but Menachem, they need to be alive." So he didn't want any dead ones being brought in. He went, "Give me some decent horses," you know. So, but they did a great job on the horse stunts in this movie, absolutely, as well as the hairdressing. So now we're seeing this is a key scene because Lakela is saying to her sister, "Well, you're the Tiara, you shoot the guy first," but she's kind of getting this vibe. She's got the hots for him already. So she doesn't shoot him. Lakela does, and he falls down backwards into this large hole, which turns out to be falling into what we assume is Cheyenne Mountain bunker. They don't make that clear, but you got to imagine that's what it is because it's Denver, you know. So.
In
Colorado. Yeah. So just have a wee look at that scene because it's actually one of the great action. There's the fall itself is extremely well staged by the stunt guys.
After you, Tiara.
You know, there's no way that crossbow could shoot across that distance. This is a good stunt.
It was not turning out to be one of Corvus's hotter days.
Yeah, she's got a thing for him now. Now that she's seen him. And who wouldn't? It's Chuck Wagner, Broadway star.
Right.
So even though he was shot in the chest by that pencil, as it's revealed, it actually hit the book. So literature saved him. Reading saved him. It never actually says he can write, but he can read. Everything from that one ABC primer, which is pretty damn clever, I have to think. Like technical instructions later for laser rifles, you can read them. Concealed carry crossbow. The Bigfoot is Culture Casino, clipped and posted on Twitter. Absolutely. Well played. So now this is the interesting part. It's a very interesting part of the movie where he enters the bunker. I was impressed. I mean, this is 900 years on, and all the power and the electronics is still working.
Right.
Built that shit well.
Yeah, apparently much better than in this timeline because, you know, most of that tech, if you leave it on for 5 minutes, something will break.
That's right. So so all the screens are still working. There's messages flashing everywhere. And then he finds the gold lame radiation suits, because obviously you're going to build those out of gold lame. And indeed, of course you are. And then these laser rifles, which of course he can now read the instructions for.
I mean, when it comes to the suits, if you can't go out there dressed as Liberace, do you really even want to survive the post-apocalypse?
Well, that's right. I actually felt he was really kind of trying to do an Elvis. I mean, Elvis is the king. He will last forever.
True.
Yes. So the president is Elvis, dressed as Elvis. But yeah, he figures out how to read the manual to use this thing.
And I love how they literally just slipped like a flashlight over the end of a stair AUG, and that's what they went with for laser.
Yeah. What is that weapon?
That's a stair AUG. That is Austria's bullpup rifle.
Oh, okay, right. So they just put a
Damn
little
fine rifle too.
The trigger's kind of shit, but other than that, it's pretty decent.
German and Austrian guns have that heavy trigger.
Yeah, true.
Also, though, the laser rifle is still working. Whatever power pack is powering it is still powered up after
It had fusion batteries or something.
Fusion batteries after 900 years. This is a kind of neat bit because the president's got his own pinball machine and what looks like an asteroid or something.
I mean, I would.
I would too, yeah. And then he's got a nice picture of a city and a big bed. This is the president's got all the good shit.
Well,
as well as a collection of vintage porn. So,
Also, I mean, you would too.
That's right. So out comes he gets the remote control.
National Archives or something.
Presses the remote, and there's a message, and it's basically saying, "Oops." So this is where we get back to our Colossus and War Games type theme with those kind of movies. Apparently, their own computer system launched the missiles when there wasn't really a threat. Oops. But as the guy said, we got the drop on the commies, so that's okay. We got that.
We sure did too. No one cares.
That's right. We got the drop on them. Woohoo! Which I found quite funny. Let's see the bunker. We got a couple of bunker scenes we can show. I'm glad to see Australia didn't escape.
What? Arms?
I like that, actually. It's a new good touch because he wouldn't know it meant weapons. He claps his arm. Oh, Elvis's suit. Thank you very much.
New book.
I love how it's in Hebrew.
I saw that. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, they didn't even put the laser thing over the barrel. They literally just put it on the bayonet lug, and that's it.
Yeah. Much easier that way.
Oh, yeah.
well, bear in mind when this came out, Pope, you would think a lot of people would look at the stair all as some sort of sci-fi weapon.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it is. In almost every 80s movie, if you look at it, like G11, Stair Augs, all those are like super sci-fi weapons in every movie.
Yeah. Hang on, I think we got one more from this sequence because it's important.
Mr. President. Mr. President.
President? Where's the president? Where's the president?
This is General Greer on board Looking Glass.
President?
It now appears, sir, that the NORAD warning computers reporting a massive Soviet first strike were in error, and that negative Soviet or Warsaw Pact missiles were fired first.
So Colossus fucked up.
Making president here? Just Corvus.
However, in compliance with standing presidential orders, our computers initiated a total retaliatory response. All, I repeat all, land and sea-based ICBMs and all, repeat all, cruise missiles have been launched. At 0300 hours, warning satellites confirmed, repeat, confirmed, a Soviet counterstrike. Mr. President, I know I can speak for all of us when I say we didn't ask for this war. But God damn, Mr. President, we've won it. Caught the Ruskies with their pants down.
We won.
Now it's up to you, sir, to lead us
Mutually
into a
assured
new tomorrow.
destruction.
Goodbye and good luck, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Strangelove. So there he is. He is now. Okay, I'm the president because I'm getting this message. It's me. I'm the prez. Oh, here's a note I forgot to say earlier. The boys are rebelling, and they want a society free of the women, just men. So San Francisco, really. Oops. Sorry. What happened there? Are you guys still there?
Yep.
Still here.
I think I no, I pressed the wrong button. There you go. I lost my screen for a minute. I couldn't see anything. The war room is not meant for fighting. That's right. And Spidey's back. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for doing the modding. To you, D-Bud, Davina, all modding today. Get that stream shared out, everybody. Please help me. Hit the like button, share the stream, all that good stuff. Canon Film Club deserves to be seen by a wide audience. We had some big crowds in the past, but I guess we've not been doing them as regularly, so it's a bit quieter. Get a few hundred on repeat, though. So anyone watching not live, thank you for watching. Appreciate it very much. If you enjoy it, leave a like. Consider subscribing. All that good stuff.
And leave us a comment. Tell us some stuff you'd like to see us cover.
Yeah, pick a can. Look back in the playlist, and if there's been a Canon film that's not been in that playlist, let us know what you'd like to see. We've got our ideas of others that we would do streams on, but maybe you've got maybe you can pluck one from the archive we've not even heard of. So this is where he bumps into. I mean, this is funny. This whole, as you say, he decides to go out dressed as either Liberace or Elvis, depending on your proclivities. Meets the eunuch Lels, who was the guy that looks after the Cedars and the Toy Boys in the Frisco. For some reason, he's out there doing his own thing. Converts this guy to a believer in the President. And, just wants to get him to go back, infiltrate tell him what's going on with the girls, but don't tell him anything about the President yet. Well, he figured out how to get the ghetto blaster to work as well.
I was going to say, that couldn't be more 80s if it tried. A guy walking around with a a gold radiation suit and a boom box.
That's right. Now, let's think about this. The presidential bunker in Cheyenne Mountain and it's supposed to be the year 2100 that the war started. If it's 900 years before 3000, and they had a 1980s ghetto blaster, like, was the guy just into vintage stuff? Was it retro?
Who knows?
Who knows? And it worked.
It could be like Fallout, where the 50s never ended, except it's the 80s.
Good point. Very good point. He actually had
truly the best timeline.
Truly the best. He actually had, and the batteries worked in it, which is also good after 900 years. I mean, you can leave batteries in a torch here for 6 weeks and they don't work when you go by.
Yeah.
But they must have better battery technology in the 2100, obviously. Make the 50s great again. Absolutely. So he's brought back goodies and riches to, his buddy here's busy training up the machos and the toy boys and whatever that they've released from the women. And now he's coming back. Arg, I love this whole bit. What's Arg do? What's this guy doing here? And he smells. Well, you all smell. It's like, he smells.
It really is Culture Casino. It's like,
why is it really is? Yeah.
We don't like him. We don't know why. He keeps showing up.
Yeah. So along comes the boss, and he reveals to them that he is the president, and that he's the, I don't know what's the word, he's going to fulfill the prophecy, whatever that prophecy may be, of course. I mean, it's about taking everyone to a new tomorrow, uniting the people, and rebuilding the military-industrial complex so they can nuke another enemy.
Well, I mean, you have to, right? What would we do without it?
He has a top hat. He must be cool. Yeah. Indeed.
And of course they kept the bows, because of course they did. And why is there a BTR there?
I don't know. I mean, there is stuff there. This is
Because
Like-
it looks cool.
It
Well,
looks
yeah.
cool.
That is true, but that's a Soviet APC.
Well, this is what I was saying earlier. They had trouble getting shit that looked good in this setting and getting it into Israel, so they just got whatever they could get their hands on. They went to get they wanted a whole load of American stuff, but they would have had to have imported it from America, which would have cost an absolute fortune.
Yeah.
So they just took whatever they could get for cheap. And if they'd filmed it in like Southern California, they would have had all sorts of stuff and it would have looked great. But as a result, it looks more Mad Max than it should have been more. I don't know, urban's the right word, but more shit around.
Yeah. There's more stuff around.
Yeah, this is very sparse. It wasn't meant to be look like that.
Canon do something on the cheap? Color me surprised.
Color me surprised. Yes. What's amazing is that everybody has got booze, babes, and bullets. What amazes me is that despite, and you can read about it in the Canon Film Guide in this chapter, despite everything, despite the heat, despite the budget, despite the crew that didn't want to build the stuff the art director was trying to tell them to build, they still managed to make a semblance of a good movie.
Right.
Like, they made the best movie they could under the circumstances. It's like one of the examples that's given is the art director and the director wanted to build all these fiberglass lightweight structures that they could then move around to film in as if they were different sets and different camps. But the local crew said, nah, we do everything in plaster. So they just built all these plaster buildings that then couldn't be moved. So they had to film everything in one place instead of having like 6 different sets. It was like, nah, we're not doing that. Screw you, art director. So it was challenges like that, you know. So the boys have decided it's time to interrupt one of the sacred seeding ceremonies. Whether they interrupt it before or after is going to be an interesting point.
Oh, I haven't seen one of those since Afghanistan.
That's right. What, seeding?
Oh, the burqa.
Oh, the burqa. Yeah, the burqa. Well, it's the guy that has to wear it here.
Well, yeah.
And obviously nobody's meant to enjoy the experience. Although there's a weird bit here after. I mean, the end. This is seeding interruptus. God damn it! Could you have waited 20 seconds?
She just needs to be faster. I mean, if you're not first, you're last.
But they don't look. Neither of them look like they're enjoying it. But when the guy's hood is taken off, they seem to. I think she must quite like the guy because they kind of smile at each other and they look relieved. Maybe she had a secret. Maybe that was her secret boyfriend.
Who knows?
Who knows? But let's see if the seeding went well. I don't know. Yes, that's kind of a half-hearted smile there. Yeah, so it's in the Manka now. Yeah. Low Spec's mentioning a really weird movie, Putney Swope. I'm going to have to look that one up. I've heard the name before. So this is a Corvus. It's quite an interesting set of scenes. He's got a plan, and it doesn't necessarily involve. He obviously wants. He's got the hots for the Vina after having met her a couple of times. He doesn't want to make war necessarily. Now he's more into making love. So he takes all this stuff he's got out of the bunkers and he puts on a show. He is dressed as Elvis or Liberace, so he wants to put on a show. So fires all the fireworks and flares off, puts this radiation suit up. See how easy it is to fool these girls. Uses the ghetto blaster and basically tells him, I'm the president and I want to speak to your leader alone. I'm sure you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he's got her buddy. That is her real buddy. He's got her stashed back at Frisco. But I quite like this plan. He doesn't just want to wipe them out. He wants to try and make peace of some kind.
And it's a classic American tactic, the old shock and awe.
Shock and awe, yeah. Firing the shit off at them, and then blowing up the gold lame suit at the end. Very impressive stuff, special effects wise, for these for this post-apocalyptic time. They're saying there, you can't go do this. You can't go off with this guy on your own and do whatever. You're supposed to be our leader. We need war. And of course, the others start plotting even more against her. I think definitely the one in the middle should have been the tiara. I think she's got the right attributes for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. She has the attributes that we need in a leader. Actually, I think I may have a little clip of that sequence. A nice use of, was it 1812 overture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to cut up this scene now where instead of 1812 overture, it's pomp and circumstance, and when they blow it up, it's Macho Man.
Yeah, absolutely. They should have used the version that Cozy Powell did on the drums.
Yeah.
On stage. Much better version. July the 4th. And then he blows up the suit, making the girls very impressed. But obviously, Vina, she does want to. She wants to go along with his plan, his plot, whatever it is. First of all, he is the president, and he has a lot of things that can explode. Plus, she's seen the map, so she's keen to break the regs and try and defy her people and make peace of some kind, or at least see what he's up to. Which is a very admirable position. Not realizing that the girls are all bitches.
Yeah, well, they never seem to until it's way too late.
Yeah. Especially her sister. How can you trust? You can't trust your sister.
Right?
There you go. So she's getting handed back unharmed, which impresses Vina, of course, because that's her buddy. I don't mean the horse. I mean the girl that was on the horse. I was so worried you were cold. Let me warm you up.
Oof.
Later. I've got to go off with this plug out first. You're going to come with me. Hopefully. It's fun. I mean, a lot of this is the stuff he does as the president, Chuck Wagner. It's done with an awful lot of tongue in cheek, with the fake voice thing and the deeper voice and all the wearing the suit. Oh, I love this. If you see what they're all banging away in these drums.
89 farewell tour.
Rolling Stones farewell tour 1969 or 1989. That's it. So then they were imagining
they did do a quote unquote farewell tour in '89 too.
They did, and then every year since. But this is funny because this was filmed in '85.
Yeah,
and they were already imagining the Stones were going to quit in '89. Like, surely they'll be done by then.
You would think so, and they should be, but they're not.
Should be. Yeah, I want them to go back to that. I'm trying to get back to that slide. See if we can pause in it.
I wonder if this is the inspiration for where Daft Punk got their look from.
It's kind of like that in a way.
Yeah, it's got the gold,
like
shine, and then the black visor.
Yeah, so the girls are getting ready for war without Vina being there. Her sister's taking her. There it is. 1989 Rolling Stones farewell tour. That is a really, really neat point. That's a good one.
Oh, that is brilliant. A brilliant little bit of foreshadowing unintentionally.
Yeah, Jason saying Rolling Stones in the year 2100 as a 1989 or 69 or 89 remake too. That's funny. There's a lot of meta stuff going on here.
Well, that leads us to the question in this timeline: is where is Keith Richards?
Well, he's still out here somewhere. We haven't
Yeah,
seen him yet, but we know he's alive there somewhere.
maybe it's Ark.
And I think Mick's probably working as a seeder by now in this film.
Probably.
That's what he spent most of his life doing. So.
I mean, he has how many kids now?
Oh, I don't know. At least get the population of a small town now. I think like 18 or
Enough kids to make a hockey team.
and he's got a hockey club of his own. Yeah. So the girls are busy scheming and bitching, and they're going to attack Camp Reagan and the boys and wipe them out. They've got access to the explosives that Vina brought back from the contams. And this poor sucker makes it extremely obvious he's about to leave and try and warn the boys. So he gets a knife in the back for his trouble, but is still able to crawl about 6 miles to. We'll just let him go, even though he's crawling. It's funny. He looks very Roman. That guy, Lels.
Yeah,
he's got the toga, kind of Roman looking, which is a bit weird. Just goes to show, post-apocalypse, in the year 3000, men will still be thinking about the Roman Empire.
this is true.
Yeah, they'll never stop. Nuke the plug nuts, I agree. And meanwhile, down in the bunker, Corvo is Corvus. Sorry, I keep calling him Corvo. That's a different character from something else. Corvus is about to show her his assets. Like, he's really doing his best to impress her here. Look at all my shit.
Well, I mean, you got to admire the man's game. He's already got her back to the Shag Palace, so
He's got her back to the Shag Palace. He just hasn't figured out how to put the lounge music on and get the waterbed going.
right.
But yeah, so now we're seeing it's because women and men haven't shown any. She doesn't even know what a man, the term man is. That's not what they call them, but they're figuring out that it doesn't have to be just about the seeding. There can be attraction, mutual attraction, proper hormonal reactions. Yes, there was nothing in the manual about this, but he did have a copy of Playboy.
Right.
So what he'll say to her is like, I want you to lie in this bed in this pose.
He's the president of Riz.
That's president of Riz. So anyway, they're getting it on for the first time. That guy, they're getting it on properly instead of seeding. Now, this is actually some really good stuff. They filmed this with these Spanish riders they brought in. This brilliant sequence of this cavalry charge. I think is extremely well done and well filmed. And as Engelbach said, he said, we probably filmed the first all-female cavalry charge in movie history. And it just so happens we may have a video clip of that. Because we're well prepared on this show. Let's boogie. So this stuff's pretty well filmed, I think. I love the 80s drums.
Yeah.
The 80s drum machine drums. That gated compressed sound. So off they go to the Camp Ronald. Meanwhile, the the mute guy, they gave the mute guy the outpost. They gave the mute guy the binoculars and stand guard the sentry. Good choice. Yeah, it's quite an amusing bit here, though. They start handing this shit out, and some of them are real, but some of them are smoke grenades. Like, I don't think, because they can't read. So they're like, oh yeah, throw the smoke grenade. Shit, it's smoke. F that, the guy says. So the big climactic battle coming, which is pretty well, it's good action, it's well choreographed, there's some great stunt actors in it, some great moves, lots of explosions. For a cheap movie, not too badly done, I think, especially with the horse riding.
I would have laughed if instead of like smoke grenade or whatever, you just see white phosphorus on the side of it. It's like, oh,
that's right. Oh shit!
We went to a dark place.
Yeah, mini nuke. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what ARG.
Even in the post-apocalypse, they know what war crimes are.
That's right. I'm not quite sure what ARG's role in this whole thing is, other than he's desperate to save the ghetto blaster and run away.
He's in charge of the ghetto blaster. Like
that's right. So, yeah, pretty damn good action sequences here. You know, it was quite exciting stuff. Oh, I didn't know there was a large church bell in it though.
Oh, my phone going off.
It's Doom, the sound of doom. He's got the hat on. I love the tin hat he's got. Yeah. So yeah, they did their best with this sequence. Absolutely. I did clip a couple of bits of it because it is the Raid on Reagan, I called these. So this is Raid on Reagan Part 1. I love the jumping backwards that the stunt guys do. He's not intending to take part in the fight, so why is he getting excited? Yeah, it's pretty good horse stunts, you know, horse riding. Very impressive. And I have the second part of that, so let's just watch that now.
Pacific Palisades has really gone downhill.
That's right. Was this? No, there he goes. That's all he's concerned about is grabbing the ghetto blaster and buggering off. He's not going to fight. It's funny how they've got all these grenades, but they never bother to use the laser rifles.
Right.
And yeah. Oh, you missed. You wouldn't get many movies now where you'd see a bunch of guys beating up a bunch of women.
Right? You just get there with the backbreaker on.
I know. Boom, back bro. You can hear the
brutal.
And then he does that. I mean, you're just not going to get that now, are you? Really? Hey, the boys are getting out from under the matriarchy. So yeah, I did enjoy this whole sequence. So it was very, very well done. Sure you would. They just called themselves Trend. Just no bus service at all. No, there wasn't. You learned wrestling moves from the bunker. Yeah.
I would love if this is set in the same timeline as Idiocracy, and you know, the president from
Oh, it could be. Yeah, that'd be it.
charge.
Talk about a great crossover.
That would be amazing.
That's right. So Corvus isn't really the president; it's the idiocracy.
It would explain the goal.
It comes in with the motor, the bikers. All right, shit's over. I'm here now. Brondo for everybody.
What the plants crave. We got to do that movie at some point.
Oh,
too.
Idiocracy is on the list. It's on the list. We've got a very long list. Idiocracy is definitely going to get done. But we have a plan for the upcoming show, for the next few shows. So we'll talk about that at the end. But yeah, there's I think the sister and Mora, the baddie women that were attacking here, they must die. I mean, I was watching it a few times trying to figure out if they died or not, because you don't see them back at Frisco.
Well,
at the end.
thing is, I mean, they probably just got laid, and that just solved the whole problem.
They got laid. They stayed there and got laid, or they got laid the fuck out.
No, either one.
But our top-hatted guy takes a couple of them out. But I'm not sure if the sister with the impressive decollage, Lakella, I can never remember her name, Lakella, who's got the best...
She of the great plumage.
She of the great plumage. Beautiful plumage. I'm not sure she survives, which would be a terrible waste if she didn't survive.
Tragedy.
It would be a tragic waste. So, meanwhile, Vina is blissfully unaware, after being introduced to the delights of Corvus's presidential bunker, is riding home, a bit sore, but is riding home and comes across Lels, who's crawled with a knife in his back for 10 miles, who tells her things are going on. The remnants of the attack on Camp Reagan are come back to Frisco, beaten and battered and bruised, where Vina's buddy is still. And then Corvus arrives back to the Reagan, finds out that the women attacked, so he gets very upset about this. And who wouldn't be upset? We had the boys had our bunker here. Our good shit was here. And you just couldn't let us have it, could you? You couldn't let us have our space. All we wanted to do was hang out, throw smoke grenades, read Playboy, listen to Beethoven. Starting to get like, what was the movie they listened to Beethoven in?
Oh,
Clockwork Orange. That's it. It's getting like Clockwork Orange now.
I was going to go with a boy and his dog for a second there. But
that was similar. This has a feel of a boy and its dog, because it does, but it has that desert look that Engelbach was upset that they ended up having to go with, because that was a cliche by then. So he's pissed with her.
Although hopefully no one gets eaten at the end. Or maybe they do.
You just never know. I mean, what have they been eating? That's what I wanted to know. Where is the food coming from? Is it green? Is it
I love how his horse blanket is the flag.
It's the flag, yeah. So yeah, he's pissed off with her, but she pleads innocence. Well, right enough, she was with him. He asked her to go there. She didn't know any of this was going on. And there's the face stare down between the guys and the girls, but they start to look at each other and realize that love is the answer. And perhaps they were missing out by not being able to get it on properly with each other. So, America horse. Yes, the cod. I just love the cod pieces in the Clockwork Orange. That's true. Because I messed with an extra large one. So. And I don't use it for cod. Women being women, hating on male spaces. That's the point I was trying to make. They couldn't let them have their own Camp Reagan.
Right.
They just had to interfere. So yeah, the message of the movie is love is the answer. Men and women sleeping together like cats and dogs will save the world. We'll enter a new tomorrow. Society will be rebuilt and everyone will live happily ever after. Particularly as these two can now unite and wipe out every other tribe of men and women around them.
Well, exactly.
that's the
Now
bit.
you don't trust as many people. You outnumber the others.
And there's Arg, happy as shit with the Ghetto Blaster playing.
Truly the best ending possible.
It is. This is paradise.
Arg ended up with his boombox.
That's all he cared about. I don't want your fighting. Just give me the Beat Boys to soothe my soul. Yeah. So and it ends with this song, which I think was by that guy I was talking about earlier in the show. You can't get a copy of that song for love nor money on the internet. So yeah, there it was. I don't think I've even necessarily got any more video clips. Did I have one left? Oh yeah, there was one. This is the only other video clip I had, so I might as well play it. As I went to the trouble of damn well doing it. That's the way, batter. Saturday night in a Glasgow dance hall.
Hey, I'm just jealous of them. Usually you have to pay extra for that.
Yeah. You know what? This is called foreplay in Scotland.
Well, yeah. Every culture has their own mating rituals.
That's right. This is a mating ritual.
Scotland just happens to involve a sledgehammer.
Yeah. No, that's Lakella, I think. So I want to see what happens to her. She's getting the better of him right now, but oh no, he breaks her. What a waste. Don't do it, man. Tame her. Yeah, I must have killed her. And I think the whole thing gets stopped by some mighty explosion. There it is, yeah. I love do you see that? I love the bit with the body, the dead body, support lying there, blows away.
Yeah.
You see that? That's a really neat bit. That actors must have enjoyed that. So there it was, everybody. And then he dragged her by her hair back to the Scottish love cabin. As long as the sheep weren't watching, that would be okay.
I mean, that is the happy ending if you're Bill Cosby.
We learned from Escape from New York that the top hat means style. That's right. It's a symbol of style and culture. Culture casino. I want to see that. I'm going to look to see that. Oh, here it is. Oh no, or is this the show? Oh, Jeff's posted something. Oh, so I'm going to see if I can get this to play the clip. I know. Well, I can't. It's a clip of us talking about the ARG being culture casino. So thank you for those who have posted that clip. Jeff Pearson, I can see, has clipped it and showing it. Maybe others, but I'll definitely be showing that tonight on Monday Night Meltdown on Comics. Yeah, unfortunately, Austin just messaged me to say he couldn't make it tonight for he's got kids to look after. So unfortunately, Austin couldn't be with us, but I'm sure he'll be there next time. He's still a great friend of the channel and is keen to come on whenever he can. Domestic duties allowing. So, guys, where does this movie sit in the canon for you?
I mean, it's not, up there with a Death Wish or any of the Delta Force movies or something like that, but it's a fun film.
Yeah, pretty good fun.
Yeah, it's a good fun film. It's a different take on the whole post-apocalyptic thing.
It was, yeah. enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would when I started rewatching it for this show. I have to say I had some fun with it. It's kind of silly and goofy. I don't know if that's how they intended, but that's how it came out, and it's all the better for that. If it had been deadly serious about itself, I don't think that would have worked as well. So
Yeah, you can't play a movie like this straight. You just have to go like I said, Idiocracy, and just go full over the top retarded.
Yeah. Now there was a poll in the chat, which 15 people have voted on about just how good is this movie. So if anyone hasn't done the poll and put their vote in, please do, because I'm going to end that poll very shortly. If Mads was here, he'd demote the film based on the amount of women in it. I mean, if you think about it, there's a lot of things that you couldn't see now in a movie like this. First of all, there was...
He would, because there are women in it, but they're getting beat up. So
they're getting beat up in the end. That's how the ending would be different now. The ending wouldn't be the men and the women get together. It would be the women completely destroy the men, and that would be the end of it. Also, there's obviously large amounts of cleavage in this, which you probably wouldn't get as much of now. And I do have to shout out, I think the people that did the best job in the movie were the hair people.
Yeah.
Especially in that heat. Hair products in that heat don't want like the wall of hair.
Working around that much hairspray in the desert heat is actually a dangerous situation.
That's right. The wall of heat, the wall of hair would just be so it's a fun movie. I think canon. It's very canon.
And I miss the 80s because of movies like this, where it's stupid, it's funny, and it's just ridiculous, but it's fun to watch.
Yeah, and let's get a thumping 80s hair metal soundtrack going on.
Of course.
Yeah.
And we have Bigfoot running away with a ghetto blaster to end the movie. I mean, this is just...
Which is... It's still the anomaly. I mean, is he the only one that evolved like that? I mean, why him? Has he been 900 years old? Is he new? Where does he come from?
Maybe it really is just Bigfoot. He's been there the entire time.
He could be Bigfoot, but just so Monty Python calling him Arg.
Yeah.
It's like, I like this from Nick. If this was reality, then the Women's Society would last all of about 5 minutes before they killed each other. That's what I was trying to get at earlier. They're like sophomore high school girls who would be bitching and backstabbing, and But then again, I'm a part of the patriarchy. So there it was. So the poll, we have 17 votes. Get your last vote in if anybody hasn't voted in it. Thank you for Tim and Lospec for dropping into the Rumble stream as well, by the way. Anyone that's watching us, as we say, on the replay, leave a like and a comment and let us know what other canon movies you want to do in the next episode. Right, so I'm going to end that poll right now, and then we will see the result. Let me copy that, paste it in. So, please paste. There we go. So, is America 3000 ... was the question. First of all, Hot Plastic, an all-time classic, which won with 58% of the vote. Good stuff. Second, with Woggos, which is crazy, of course. So Bad It's Good, 23%. Also a good choice. Not a negative choice, not a neggy choice.
Yeah.
Not a negative choice. Third was Cold, So Bad That It's Bad, 11%. And finally, Pugats, but we still love it, 5%, which is also not a bad choice either. So thank you all for voting on that. I agree. It's Hot Plastic. Good, of course, which is very good. So love it. Love it, love it, love it. Wait till America 5000. Or they could make a sequel about it.
Let's not give Hollywood any ideas at this point.
America 5000 with the Idiocracy crossover.
That would be how you make it happen. Do a crossover with Idiocracy
that
and
would be
kind of
awesome.
blend the two.
That would be awesome. Well, that was good fun. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thanks, everyone in the chat. Appreciate it very much. Just to plug things, obviously, do that liking and commenting and subscribing thing if you're not a subscriber. Even consider being a channel member. We have memberships. It does help me keep the lights on and make future improvements to the show and so on. So let's talk about what's coming up next for you guys. Imp, thank you, brother, for being here.
Oh, yeah. I'll be back around again. You're back on Mondays.
Indeed. And I'm so pleased about that. What have you got coming up in the
a little later tonight? I'm going to be doing some gaming with Slender Dad. I don't know if we're streaming or just recording it to clip up for Ascendant Arcade. Tomorrow we should be gaming. I just don't know what channel because Brahma might be going to a hockey game. So
He might be.
He said he wasn't sure last time we spoke, so that'll be happening. If not on his channel, then on Ascendant Arcade or my channel. And then Friday I'll be on Ascendant Art Podcast as always.
Indeed,
torturing those guys.
Hopefully I'll be there with you. Yes. Let me just see if
anyone's not subscribed to those guys, Ascendant Arcade and Ascendant Art, go do so.
I know that I should be showing. I should be showing your channels, and I don't know what I did with the links. Where's the links gone? Oh, there we go. Sorry, let me show that on screen. Share screen, tire screen. So first of all, Imp, this is your YouTube channel.
Yeah, I need to put something back up on that at some point.
Yeah,
it's kind of sparse.
And D-Bud's posting the link. Thank you to that.
Indeed.
Thank you for that. Pope on Rumble. If I can find you. Oh, Nick the Greek. Thank you, buddy. Pope Metallicus channel over on Rumble. Midnight Mass, which is kick-ass. I'm going to ask you to play some stuff because I listen to you guys. And
you're breaking up for me pretty bad.
Yeah, same.
Okay, well, I'll close some of these windows. Maybe that'll help. That helping?
Yes.
Yes.
Sharing too much stuff, obviously. So Pope Metallicus, Midnight Mass on Rumble. I've learned a lot from listening to that show. So certain bands that I like, High on Fire, and other bands recently I've got into. I think you've been playing those guys in the past, so stuff like that.
And hopefully Bloodstar, which for all of you paying attention, is one of my best finds of the year, I think.
Okay, I'm going to add that to the list. Because when I did my list of my favorite stuff of the year, I didn't really talk about a lot of music, but I did talk about a few things music-wise, and if I could find them.
Yeah, the funny thing is you mentioned how you like the new Opeth album.
Yeah, and you're not that keen.
No, I wasn't going to say that. I've only heard one track, and I'm like, yeah, it's Opeth.
Yeah. I quite like it because it's got a little
friends of mine who got into them once they got really prog heavy. Well, they were always kind of prog heavy, but you know what I mean.
When they got really way overboard with it.
Yeah, when they went overboard with it, when they dropped the growls and everything like that. They don't like the new one.
Well, the growls are back a bit.
Yeah, that's why they don't like it.
Yeah, so they have come back a bit. So I did talk about some albums that I was into. I'm into a guy called Tab Benoit, who's a Louisiana blues guy. He's got his first new album out this year for 10 years or so. Tab Benoit, great guitar player. Invincible Shield, I loved. Saxon, Hellfire and Damnation. But High on Fire, Cometh the Storm, which I think I first heard from you, Pope, playing.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And then Midnight's Hellish Expectations was another one I had on my list of the year, best of the year. And then Opeth, Last Will and Testament. So I didn't have a big list of music, just those, but those are great albums I did enjoy. Many of them thanks to you guys. So
glad to be of service. That's actually why I do the show. So
that's my goal in life: corrupt people.
So, a couple of super chats. Thank you guys. So, Nick the Greek, 199 super chat from Nick the Greek. Here's some money. Don't spend it all on the sheep. Well, that's, you never know what's going to happen.
Boy, that was really something. I never thought it could be like this. Never in my wildest imagination. You're really something special.
So thank you, Nick the Greek, for that. And Snowdub, our great buddy Snowdub, with $2 super chat. I'm gonna pump your ma, which is something I'm gonna pump your ma, which is something Jock McHugh says quite a lot. No idea where he gets that from, such a phrase. So we're gonna have something to celebrate that one. A clip. What should we have? I think this. So thank you guys for the super chats. So Pope, what are you up to in the near future?
Well, yesterday we actually just me and Christian DeWarm over on Vinyl Revival did a interview with Memnock from Abyssic.
Oh, nice.
So for any of you guys who are into like the Scandinavian metal scene, definitely check that out. He's a really super nice guy. Had a great
Is he
conversation.
actually Scandinavian? Or?
Yeah, he's from Norway.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that stands to reason. All the guys I've talked to in bands and whatnot, generally speaking, unless they already had an ego to begin with, were very cool.
Yep. And briefly, I'm not sure if he's on one of the albums, but briefly played with Emperor.
Really?
Yeah, way back in the early days. So check that interview out. We had a really great time doing it, and he's an awesome dude. So I would really recommend it. Other stuff coming up. I do have another Rock and Roll Religion I'm editing right now. Well, I say editing right now, but it's been on my hard drive for a while, and I just haven't done it. Talking with Sumo Orange about Warlock. So that's going to be amazing.
Good night, D-Bud Martin. Thanks for all your modding efforts today, mate. Thank you. Yeah, good stuff, Pope. Thanks for being here, mate. Really appreciate it. I'm glad that you guys can make it again. Now we're back on Mondays. So,
yeah,
appreciate that very much. As for me, later on tonight, I'll be on Monday Night Meltdown Comics Division. Tomorrow, Tuesday, will be Toxic Tuesday over on Nick's channel, Nick Visor. I think we're doing Man on Fire, Denzel Washington movie.
Ooh,
I think. Yeah, we're on a Denzel season right now. Great movie indeed. Well, Thursday back in Comics Division as well. Thursday night Throwdown. Friday Ascendant Art. Saturday night, I'm not sure there's going to be a bourbon and boarding this Saturday because Brahma might be busy, but I'll probably be hanging out with Snowdub earlier Saturday night on his channel. Next Monday, the current plan for this show next Monday is an edition of the Cult Comedy Crew, and I want to talk about the movie Top Secret.
Yes.
Because to celebrate or commiserate in memorial to Jim Abrahams, who died in late November or early December. So let's do Top Secret, which I think was one of those guys' movies. Zucker Abrahams. Love that movie, and it's just so much funny shit in that. So let's do that next week. The week after that probably will be some unspecified music topic. But I know that Imp and I
haven't done in a while something metallic.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about what it should be, and it could be something like that. Now February the 10th, I think. Looking further ahead, Imp and I were talking about doing a show about the Sinbad movies, so that might be the best day to do that if anyone's into that.
And not the comedian either.
No. No, we mean the stop motion animation Sinbad movies, action movies. So that's the plan for that day. There will probably be another show before then, February 3rd. Don't quite know what that will be. We shall see. So plans are coming together. Whatever, we hope to see you all here next week for Cult Comedy Crew Top Secret. Thank you to all the super chatters, to the mods, Debud, Davina, Canadian Spider-Man. Thank you to everyone in the chat and everyone for their continued support of this channel. We appreciate it all very much. In fact, we have...
You have our gratitude.
Couldn't put it better myself. So until next time, stay well, everybody, and keep on rocking.